All right. All right. Bonus round. Shop Class Podcast. We already did a show with Joanne Mitchell, but we're gonna do another show real quick with Matt Blomquist. He just got back from the building science show, and he's out there talking about the projects and what he did. So, Matt, what happened out there?
Yeah, so I was in Kansas City for the Midwest Building Science Symposium, which is just fancy word for a building science conference, where they had presenters and very good presenters. So Steve Basic, who jumped on that one night when we had Mark Willey on, he was one of them. Jake Bruton, who I've talked about many times before. Anybody that watches and follows along and reads Fine Home Building Magazine, Mike Gurton, he was there doing demonstrations. Peter Yost, Ben Bogey, Randy Williams, all these guys who I've been following along, getting to know, kind of through the stuff I do online with those guys and the BS and Beer crew and all that. So they're all there as presenters, and then all these people I'm connected with, just like you guys. I got my shop teacher group, and then I got my contractor building science group, and so it was nice to actually get to meet some of these people and shake their hands and be face to face and all that. So it was a networking opportunity. It was awesome. Also, the companies that were sponsoring that are some of the companies who we have partnered up with our own program. And then at the end of it, they did a Keep Craft Alive event. Hashtag Keep Craft Alive is something that Fine Home Building Magazine started. And one of the big things they do is they raise money for like scholarships, and also for Sporting Skills USA. So they rounded up donations and products and all this stuff and do like a raffle at the end of the show. And part of the proceeds, and I didn't know this until like the day or two before I even went over there, part of the proceeds from that are actually coming back to my program,
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. I have no idea how much they made or whatever, but it sounded like they did pretty good with it. It was a lot of fun. And the other cool part was I got to meet up with a teacher who's just outside of Kansas City who builds houses with his students.
No way. Similar to your program.
Yeah, similar to mine. And it was one of those things where he was getting interested in, he's been kind of watching what's going on with the building science community and wants to start implementing that same stuff to his program. And I had just actually found out about him just a few weeks ago. Actually, it hasn't been very long, maybe a month at best. And the cool part was he had already signed up to come to this thing. And I was like, oh man, I wonder if he's here. I got on Instagram real quick. I was going to text him, and he had taken a picture from being inside the conference. And I was like, oh my God. So I went walking around hunting him down and found him, and then started introducing him to all my connections of people and the companies that, I've worked with and stuff, and those connections, trying to get him tied into the network. And at the Keep Craft Alive thing, Travis, my buddy that kind of started, him and his business partner kind of helped start this whole conference on their own, with the help of some support from the companies like Huberwood and stuff to make it happen. And they're like, hey, will you guys talk at the Keep Craft Alive thing? And we're like, sure. So it was really neat. So yeah, if you were just there on Mark Willey's Instagram.
Oh yeah,
I think he recorded like our whole little spiel and stuff. And
what did you talk about? Your program?
So I talked about my program real quick, but we talked about what you can do to help programs like ours, or help get programs started. When you're approaching the schools, what should you talk about? Like I told
Yeah.
them, don't go into a school and ask them if they're interested in starting a program, because if you ask them to do something that takes time and money, the answer is no, right?
Right.
So one of my things is go in and try to line up a conversation to talk about what it would take to start a program, or what a program like this would look like, or what would need to be done if you guys were to start a program like this. Because I go, you guys got to get the conversation rolling before you ask for permission, because they're just going to say no, more than likely. So talked about that a little bit. Talked about us, what we do. I can't remember if I mentioned the shop class podcast and that or not. There's a million things flying through my head, but I was talking about how, the idea of the rock star teacher that you always talk about, Ron.
Yeah.
And, about how we try. There's a whole bunch of shop teachers all across the world that are trying to do the coolest, funnest things that they can come up with, not just to be making, charcuterie boards in class or whatever. Like the idea is and I talked about, Chris and those guys making the paddle boards, and how, the idea is to kind of do whatever we want to do, whether we have permission or not, but make it look good and bring the good attention to the school and get it out there first before anybody can get mad at you and say no. So
yeah,
I was like, it's information. It's kind of like that. It's kind of this like stuff we talk about and things that we brainstorm about. And, just kind of, again, how important it is to, have programs like these for the kids. And that's why the administration should really, seriously look at this, because they say it's all about being there for the students. Well, we're having programs like ours. We're literally offering them tangible skills that they can start a career immediately, or even if just a job, whatever. And it's something that people are hungry to have, like the industry is hungry for us to have these kinds of programs. And so that was kind of my spiel. And, of course, thank everybody for the support and everything, things like that. And it was, and then the building science conference was great, because it's all about building better and building actually, if you break it down, the new 2021 code, like how we're building is now technically code, but you don't necessarily have to build the 2021 code if your area doesn't adopt it yet. So,
just so everybody knows, that anybody watching this, Matt's not just building houses with students. They're going ground up, and every year they're trying to up the ante. They're doing, new practices. It's like, you could see here, they're looking at the heat envelope, the R factors, the efficiency of the home, what different types of equipment they're putting in the home to heat it or cool it, and so, and also being connected to the industry. That's not easy for a teacher to do, but if you go above and beyond, like a lot of shop teachers do, it's almost like it's a breath of fresh air. It's like being connected to the industry and trying new things is your energy. It is your your oxygen, and so the shop teachers giving them a little bit of breathing room so that they can try something new, use them in new material or try a new technique, I think is like super important, because the students benefit and then the school benefits and the whole thing comes full circle. So I totally agree. I'm just kind of emphasizing, in case someone was new and listening to this, what are we talking about here? We're talking about.
Yeah, you summarized it perfectly, Ron.
Yes, we're talking about shop teachers, given the, going above and beyond, and it's not just the norm. It's not just the outliers. It's the only way to be, is to be connected to industry, sharing ideas, and going and trying out the new equipment. Because like even now, I want to get a house, and I'm not going to get the old houses. I want to get a house that has the newest tech. And where do I go to that? Believe it or not, I'm getting all my information from a shop teacher. Where do you get this information? It's not ready available to the regular person. So it has to be taught to somebody somewhere. So Matt's doing amazing work out there.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, I tell you what, like you said, that gives you that extra excitement and stuff to get back and keep on going. Like, those things kind of recharge your batteries and reaffirm what you're doing. It was kind of funny for me. I feel like going there, I feel like I'm obviously the student, of course, in these things, but having people that I look up as, kind of like the Instagram superstars or whatever, social media superstars of our industry, and they're coming up to me, shaking my hand and like taking pictures with me, and it's like, wait, what? This is backwards. I'm here to see you guys do this stuff, but they're, like I said, they're just so hungry for what we are doing, not only in my program, but everyone here on the Shop Class podcast, what we're doing in our classes, because we're teaching them skills that they can use, whether it's in a shop or a job site. It doesn't matter if they're learning how to do stuff with their hands. That's what they're wanting, and it's kind of cool to go to places like that and be around these people who respect so much, and they're telling me that we're the heroes kind of deal. And it's like it was funny. You didn't know it was. I almost didn't know how to react to that. Like it was very, very, very cool experience. Everybody's awesome. It's an awesome community. And I told those guys, I get to be a part of their community. I get to be a part of our community, and everybody's kind of on the same page for going, trying to do have the same goals and ideas for what we want to try to teach our future, in the education world. So they are all about supporting all of us, and it is awesome. And I hope that keeps on going and stuff. And I hope it opens up more avenues for all of us together. And yeah, very cool. I came off that thing very energized. And it also opened up some very cool opportunities and potential guests for us on the show, because go to the Instagram handle, The Tool Hacker.
Okay.
So while he's doing that, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Matt, about, going somewhere and realizing that, you want to be the student, but in turn you end up being the celebrity. And when I was out at that Maker's Timberin with Justin Dietrich, I really felt like I was just there as a student, but it ended up being like Justin was basically like, oh my God, Tim Zavacki's here. Like, it was one of those type of things where, I didn't think it was anything. It was like, yeah, I just showed up to learn. But he was like, oh man, that's amazing that you came. It was like, I can't believe I met you. And I was like, yeah, I'm just here to check you out. And, so it was kind of like both sides of the coin, like you experienced. So I understand what you're saying with that. Yeah,
it really is cool. And like I said, it makes you feel good where it kind of catches you off guard, because it just wasn't what your mindset was about. And I don't think any of the guys that we look at as like, the celebrity people that were there. I mean, they know they're considered the professionals and stuff, but even those guys were kind of like, we're here to kind of learn from everybody too, because everybody asks these great questions. But yeah, it was, to like Mike Gurton, he's a legend. And when it comes to Fine Home Building Magazine and publications, and he writes books, and he's been around forever. But he's one of those things where, it's kind of like the godfather of carpentry, it just seems like, and knowledge in that industry. And I ran into him outside our hotel, and I'm like, Mike, and he's like, hey, Matt. And I was like, and I've done stuff with him on the computer screen, so I knew he knew who I was, but I was just like, that was kind of weird that I don't have to introduce myself to Mike Gurton. He knew who I was already, and it was fun.
Awesome.
It was quite, and then like just hanging out with those guys and talking. We talked about who had shop class back in the day, or how do we get into the trades and all that. Those conversations, and I hung out with Mark Willie in person for a long time this weekend, and there's Mike Gurton.
Did you run into any other teachers there while you were there?
No, just Scott. Just Scott, the teacher I was just talking about.
Okay. Wait, is this the guy, Brant Taylor?
Okay, so all right, the tool hacker. Okay, so this is where Ron. This is who we're going to get on as a guest, Brant. And I talked to him already about it. He's on board. We'll just have to figure out when he wants to do it, and I'll talk to him. So scroll down his thing. Okay, see that brain bucket?
Yeah.
Click on the picture of this thing.
Okay. Okay, he's talking about it.
You're going to try out. Okay, so what this thing is, these are the new hard hats. Hard hat styles.
Oh, this is going to be like a camera.
So what he took was all that stuff that's mounted on there is add-ons that he created. Or didn't create, but he created this whole thing. Otherwise, the hard hat.
Oh, we lost him. Damn. Okay.
It's just.
Oh, there you are. You're back. We lost you for a second.
It's
got
like
hard hat with
ones that
equipment on it. That's okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so he took a standard hard hat, and what he did was he put this visor on it. He put this. You wave your hand past this thing. It turns on LED lights. It has communication systems in it. This thing, it has a fan on the back of the head that blows air across your head to keep you cool. It has a camera on it.
Nice.
So it's in the commercial industry. Like when he showed me this summer, the commercial industry, I could eat this thing up because you have instant communication with anybody, anywhere on the job site. It's almost like a special forces military helmet.
Wow.
Think of it that way. So he's like, Matt, when you're teaching people how to use a circular saw, how do you do it? I'm like, well, usually I give a demonstration, then give them the saw, and then I see what they do, and then I correct anything that they're doing wrong. He's like, all right. He goes, how useful would it be if you were able to be in their ear, talking to them through it? They could hear you, but they wouldn't hear all the distraction of the other people or other things around. I'm like, yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. He's like, so what you do is if the kids are wearing this now, we wouldn't have to have all the other stuff on it. It'd just be more the communication system parts. He's like, you could sit there and talk to the kids, pretty much like the coaches call in the play to quarterbacks.
Dude,
so
tell him to make this. Tell him to make this in a welding helmet next.
Okay, I will. So he goes, what happens if I give you a couple of these and we play around with some ideas in the education world? I said, all right, what are you thinking? He's like, you can use this for if you're, training kids. I said, for me, what I'm thinking is I have kids working up on the roof, putting sheeting on. I'm down on the ground trying to help other kids and stuff, but I need to look up there and I can communicate to these guys, be like, hey, you need to, nail down there, line this up here, whatever. And it can be complete communication. And the best part is, I go, how many different channels does this have? Because I have work groups. I go, could I have channel one is a group one? He goes, yeah. And then all you do is you hit a button and then you could talk to everybody on the job site.
Wow.
So I could communicate with everybody on the job site. They can communicate with me instantly. They don't have to hunt me down on the job site. I don't have to hunt them down. I can talk to them. And here's the cool part, what we've really started talking about. So we've talked about bringing, with COVID, bringing the job site or bringing whatever into a computer screen, right? So let's say I keep thinking of Mr. Jarrett that does the construction class with junior high kids in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Sorry, my GPS was talking. So what we could do is these things have cameras on it. What we could do is live stream all the videos to Mr. Jarrett's class. All those junior high kids can sit and watch my students frame a wall in real time, and my students can sit there and explain what they are doing to the kids.
Wow.
Or we can film just like a dash cam. We can film everything we do, take those together, use them as training videos. Okay, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? What, or if on a liability side, if somebody gets hurt or breaks a tool, okay, well, what were you doing? How did you get hurt? What did you do wrong? So we're looking at this, and we're going to play around with the idea of bringing, because I was talking to the guy. I've made the comment. I was like, I'm doing my best, but I can only pump out so many kids a year. And, and it's one of those things where I can't have 1 million kids on the job site because that's insane. But if we can still bring this information and this experience as closely as we can to the kids that are in the classrooms or at home or whatever, this could be a potential solution.
Yeah, I love it. I just
go ahead.
No, I just think that it's very difficult to teach and then a year later lose the best kids, and then a year later lose the best kids in a repeated process. But when you have video evidence of what they're doing and you can have a compilation of examples, it speeds up the learning process for your new kids coming up.
Yes, and I made that exact same point. I was like, every year I have repeat students, but I also have brand new students. I said, if we're able to take those videos and the kids that were there doing it can be like, oh yeah, so this is what we're doing. We don't want to do that because this is a mistake we made. It could speed up the learning curve that much faster. And here's the other thing, what's cool about this now, having 15 students on a job site is tough to watch once we start getting walls up, right? We even know this in a shop class. I now have full communication in their ears to all the kids, no matter where they're at on a job site. So if I have kids working up in the attic, if I have kids working in the crawl space, if I got kids working on the main level, I could be in the mobile classroom watching the TV monitor screen, talking to them, and I could watch everything going on, and I could be sitting in the mobile classroom doing this.
Wow.
So let's say if I had to go in,
that's crazy.
Say I had to go into the mobile classroom to do something like pull up something on the plans or something. It happens occasionally. I'm like, all right, kids, keep working. Don't be careful. Don't mess up anything, whatever. I mean, granted, it's only usually we're talking a matter of 3 minutes at tops kind of deal. But with this kind of setup, you literally could you could be in one stationary spot and have eyes on everybody and what they're doing. So I could even just put a monitor in the middle of the job site, be standing in the middle inside while people are doing everything. And I could visually be watching what they are doing in real time, just like a surveillance camera.
Yep. Yeah.
And I could communicate to them.
Now, do you require the kids to wear helmets?
We don't. It's one of those things when we set trusses and do overhead stuff, we probably really should be. But helmets have never been hard hats have never been anything enforced in our area kind of deal with residential construction. But I think technically with OSHA, I'm not 100%. I'd have to check on it. I think anything when you're doing overhead work, you're supposed to have some kind of hard hat, though.
Mm-hmm. I can also see this benefiting other programs too, like an FFA program, or even like a job site work study program. And just finding ways that would benefit all those.
Well,
residential construction.
Yeah. Well, and another cool thing that he has set up on these, I think he has it set up. I'll have to double check him, but he was talking about it. You can talk in it, it'll translate.
Uh-huh.
That's
Really?
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
this is
think
clear.
it's just like through Google or something. But I'm not sure how he did it, but yeah, he donated a couple of these helmets to the auction and stuff, and then we're talking about getting a couple of them because he was talking about. So when he was telling me about it, I'm like, dude, I'll tell you right. He goes, what happens if I give you a couple of these helmets to have or whatever? I said, how about this? I said, how about let's play around with this idea? I'll start off with them. I said, then I got a whole group of shop teachers that if we can come up with other creative ways to use it, I go, I'll just ship them around and we'll pass them around and we'll all try them out and you'll get all kinds of good feedback. He's like, okay. So, yeah, I go, now we don't need all the gadgets, stuff that he has on it. Like I said, for us, it'd be mostly the communication and the camera visuals. But I mean, how cool, think of the potential possibilities. Like you told me that and all of a sudden our brains were just running. And it was like, I was like, I think you're onto something. Like I go, we definitely need to try it out and see how realistic our ideas are about this. But I go, I don't see why it wouldn't work. And he said, so him and his crew use it all the time doing resident. He goes, we'll pop them on just to hang cabinets. He goes, you know how much more efficient we are now? He goes, communication is flawless now because everybody could talk to each other in the moment. And it's really working out for him and stuff.
You know, I could see, like, I have a friend who does tree construction or tree, he's a
arborist.
Arborist, but like, I don't know, it's funny. I'm not sure what people think about arborists. Like, it's not just chopping down trees. It's like surgically removing a tree so it doesn't crash down on a house or a building. It's pretty intense. You're all the way up there. You got to talk with the crane operator. Sometimes a crane drops a person onto the tree to cut something, so it's pretty intense. And
Jimmy does that with his brother-in-law or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do with my brother-in-law. I mean, I'm not the guy in the tree, but it is usually the climber and the crane operator have some type of communications, and it is some type of Bluetooth system. And they have their own conversation. They just shoot the breeze, and they say commands, and things happen, and this. But the ground people don't have any communication with the guy in the tree, or or the crane operator. It's just walk up to the crane and just shout into the cab, and that's about it. But there, it's an isolated thing, so I could see how that benefits that that industry also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even teaching though, like kids running the chop saw or something, and you're trying to for one thing, it's intimidating for a middle school kid just to use a chop saw or any kind of machine. Like even putting hand tools in their hands. The shop's loud. Instead of screaming over the noise of the saw to calmly explain to a kid what to do, it's probably more relaxing for the kid, but it also probably makes it safer just using the tool.
Yeah, well, and that's what Brant said. He's like, imagine you could just stand back, talk to the kid, coach him through it. They have the earmuffs, or safety earmuffs for the sounds of the tools. They're not being distracted by their buddies goofing around. All they hear is you talking, and they can stay focused. I was like, and all you have to do is stand there and talk into a mic like it's normal. You're not trying to stand 2 inches away from them while they're trying to cut. And I was like, dude, I go, you got me sold. Like I want to play with it. I want to try it out. I go, we'll test the hell out of these things for you and see how this would work. I said, and I like I said, I go, and then I'll pass them out to my shop teacher buddies, and they'll run them through the gauntlet. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Duke. I mean, and here's the other thing: for the kids putting on the helmet, like tell them that, hey, this is you're the quarterback, I'm the coach. Just like in football, they talk into those helmets now. I mean, maybe they look a little dorky, whatever, but at the same time, they also look kind of cool because if you look at any special force military guy, that's exactly what these helmets look like. Some
That's
crazy
what they're
alien.
doing with the video games anyway. They're talking
Yeah.
to each other on the mic. It's just a natural progression. They would love it.
Yep, you're right. That is exactly right, Ron. Yep, you're talking on the mic to your buddies.
And
What
the other
does
thing
this
is,
say?
this would prevent the kids from keeping their earbuds in their ears because they'd have to take them out to put on this system. You know, that would change their focus as to, are they really listening to me or are they listening to their earbuds, whatever they're playing in the
and
back?
then
Yeah,
You
you have
could
full
give
control of what they listen to.
and you could give a little bit of personal space back. So, like, I
Yeah.
was teaching about the sandblaster today, and I'm over the kid's shoulder looking, and I'm like, okay, yeah, not like that. You got to move the thing. Okay, push the pedal over here. I'm basically trying to be in their ear, but I don't want to be in their ear. I want to just look at the thing and be like, hey guys, okay, so you see that thing, like real calm, like a traffic controller. Be like, all right,
Yep.
look, you know.
And these things have built-in safety glasses, so they're wearing them on their eyes, not their head, because they already have a helmet on their head.
Yep,
Mhm.
they just flip them down. And what's cool is he has this thing, you wave your hand past it and it lights up an LED light. Now, granted, most of our work is in daylight or shop lit, so that wouldn't be as important to us maybe. But, I mean, they are, they're pretty cool, man. Like, I was messing around with it. It's pretty sharp. Like,
That's awesome.
And these hard hats, the design has been around for, I don't know, 50 years. Why didn't we think of something like this?
yeah, well, so they just started catching on because they're like climbers' helmets. So, like, if you ever see what climbers wear, it's kind of the same premise. And these things have switched over to since they're less clunky, they stay on your head better and everything. This has become the new hard hat in the industry. And Brant just decided to turn it up 10 notches.
Yeah, they're all these tree helmets are all streamlined, and it's not like the good old fashioned yellow with the brim in the back and ribs on the top. It's not like that anymore. All these helmets are streamlined. They're all like ventilated. They're everything. So it's not like something is sweating on your head. It's totally different than what it used to be. And especially when you're climbing in a tree, branches getting stuck over you or stuck underneath your helmet. It is one of those nice things where having something streamlined that's very form fitting is beneficial because it's going to keep you safer.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and then old helmets. So these helmets have straps and everything, so they stay on your head. Where old helmets just you tighten down the crank around your head. But if you get hit and it gets knocked off, and then as you fall and hit the ground, well, shoot, you may have saved the blow to your head from, say, a board or a pipe coming across and hitting you in the head. But let's say it put you down to the ground. Well, your helmet came off from the blow to the helmet, and then you hit your head on the concrete. Well, then what good did it do? So, but yeah, I knew. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things. I think his idea in the education realm for us, I think it's viable.
Yeah, I think this is cool. You know what's cool is that it's by another tradesman or shop teacher. I know that there's a lot of competitors. Like, I'm showing a video about the HoloLens, which is, I think, Microsoft, which is great. But, if a shop teacher's doing it, they're going to have the class environment in mind, which is a pretty good, pretty important. Also, the virtual reality part or augmented reality part of it. Like, if the kid could see an animation of how the bolts go together, like what they're showing here, of how it works on site in front of you, and it's laid over the actual thing, so it's like you're like a superhero. That's basically what's happening, is that we're all becoming Batman.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Those lenses are just hooked up to something that you can, they're not only just safety lenses, sunglasses, but they're also those halo lenses or whatever. I mean, dude, it's like I said, it's like special force. It's like a special force helmet, military helmet.
Yeah, it's so cool. All right, that was pretty cool. Now, what's the name of the other teacher you met there that also does a similar program?
Scott Hughes. If you look up THS Building Trades, and the reason I saw
THS?
yeah, so because we are also THS.
Oh, no way.
And he was one of my recommendations on Instagram, and I just saw that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I clicked on his thing just to see, and I saw he's building a house also. Now, his program is a little bit different than ours, but, I mean, the idea is, kind of, we're on the same road and same ideas on what we feel the students should be learning and stuff.
Right.
But he's just trying to figure out how to get to do some of the things like I'm kind of getting to do and stuff. So, but he's been teaching for like 16 years.
Wow.
And he was a framer and everything like before he got into teaching. And so now what they do is they bring on a lot more professionals than I do, which is kind of cool. But they're not on the job site quite as much as we are. That's kind of one difference between us. But super awesome guy. I told him about it. That's one of those things where I told him just to try to jump on a Wednesday night, casual, all that good stuff. So hopefully next Wednesday or something, we can get him on there just to hang out with us or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very cool. Very cool stuff going on. I like it. So, all right, we'll wrap it up right there. This was a double episode. I think it's funny. You come out of a trade show, especially with just like a mixture of tradesmen and shop teachers. I always come out like just so excited. It's like if you go to SEMA or something, like you're just like, what is this? You just go nuts. And so I wanted to catch a little bit of that energy, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
You definitely are stoked, which is good. And I remember when Tim came back from the maker camp. I mean, he was on fire, which I love that. So, let's see. What's the the brain bucket is this one.
That's it.
Here.
The tool hacker.
Yeah, the tool hacker. Okay, that's the handle for that.
Yeah,
and
we'll try to get him on the show soon.
Absolutely. Next week we have they're welcome to join as well, but we have a former student she actually wasn't my student, but she was in our STEAM program, and she's Riley Flores, and she's doing engineering at Brown. But she's also like the shop hand. She's kind of like a shop teacher among her other college colleagues, at the maker space there. So I think she's become a little bit of a leader over there, and I'd love to hear her story. So she's coming on next week. But absolutely bring these people on. The last episode I had to edit a little bit, and I just didn't have time to finish it. And then I'm just trimming the fat on it. I'm putting it out. So now we got tonight's episode plus the bonus. So we got like 3 episodes coming out within the next couple of days. All right, that's basically it. Thanks for joining. Any last thoughts? Or otherwise, we'll end it here. Okay. All right. So, Shop Class Podcast. This is the place where we share ideas about how to teach shop class. All right. Thanks a lot.